Hello and welcome to everyone. Myself Ankit. This is the second video for class 8th of second chapter, which is spreadsheet formulas and functions. In previous video, I have discussed about the formulas and its types like basic formula, compound formula and using formula in the text, etc. As well as I have discussed about the cell range with the help of practicals in MS Excel. Okay, so today in this video I am going to talk about cell reference and its types. So now let us start. So the first question is, what is cell reference? So the cell address which we use in a formula is called cell reference. We all know that. What is cell address? Cell address is the combination of column name and row number. Okay, so whenever we are using any cell address in a formula, so then that cell address is known as cell reference. We can see the example here, that is A1. So here A1 is the cell address for cell A1. Okay, and here A is the column name and 1 is the row number. Okay, so we can uh, locate any cell in MS Excel by the help of cell address. Okay, next one is, with reference we can use data from a different part of the worksheet or different sheet of the workbook. That means we can copy any data, for example any formula from a worksheet, means from one cell to another cell, as well as we can copy formulas from one worksheet to another worksheet in case of workbook. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about the different types of cell references. Okay, so basically there are three types of cell references. The first one is relative cell reference, second one is absolute cell reference, and third one is mixed cell reference. Okay, so now I am going to talk about each and every cell reference in detail. Okay, the first one is relative cell reference. Okay, so what is the meaning, what is the purpose of this cell reference? When we copy or move the formula to other cells, the reference of the reference to the cell automatically gets changed. Okay, so we will understand this relative cell reference by the help of example. Okay, let us understand relative reference practically. Okay, so this is the screen of MS Excel. Okay, and I have entered some data here like this. Okay, so now I want to calculate the sum of these values which are contained by units sold. Okay, so for that I have to perform I have to use a formula. Okay, and I am using that formula in B8 cell. Okay, so B8 cell is the cell where I want to display the sum of these values. Okay, so for that I am just going to enter the formula here. Okay, so first thing is, always we all know that the formula begins with start button. Okay, now here I am typing the function like this, sum. Okay, and here I am using the range, I am using the cell range from B2 cell to B7 cell. Okay, so for that the first thing which I have to do is click to B2 cell, then place the colon here, and then click the ending cell of that range, that is B7. Okay, so now this is the range which is selected, and then place the parenthesis and press the enter key. Now we can see 8900 is the sum of these values. Okay, next one is, because I am performing here relative reference. Okay, so for that I'm just going to copy the formula of B8 to C8. Okay, so for that, what should I do? Okay, I have to select the cell B8 because this cell is containing the formula. The formula is equal to sum B2 colon B7. Okay, and then click the copy option from clipboard group. This is the clipboard group, and from here I will choose copy option. Whenever I choose copy option, then a blinking box is coming here. Okay, so that blinking box is called marquee. It is known as marquee. Okay, and then click the C8 cell because C8 cell will be the cell which display the sum of these values which are contains by expenses. Okay, and then click the paste option. That means 1300. Okay, so whenever I click the paste option, then the formula which is contained by B8, that is equal to sum B2 colon B7 has copied to cell C8. Okay, and just observe one thing here. We can observe whenever we click the B8 cell, then the formula is equal to sum B2 colon B7, and whenever we are clicking the C8 cell, then automatically the cell references which are B2 colon B7 has changed into C2 colon C7. So that's why that is known as relative reference, because whenever we copy any formula from any other cell, then automatically the cell references gets changed according to the means new cell. Okay, so new cell, the column heading of this new cell is C. Okay, so that's why, okay, so that's why the references of the previous formula has changed into C2 colon C7. Okay, and one more thing, this B2 and B7, these are actually the cell addresses, but whenever we are using these cell addresses into a formula, then these are known as cell references. Okay, so that is the definition of relative reference. Whenever we copy or move the formula to other cells, the references to the cell automatically gets changed. Okay, and this is happening here whenever we are copying this formula from B8 to C8, then automatically the cell references gets changed according to the cell C8. Okay, so this is the relative reference. Okay, the second type of cell reference is absolute cell reference. Okay, so what is absolute cell reference? So whenever we do not want to change, just focus here, whenever we do not want to change the address of the cell while copying the formula to another cell. Okay, we all know that what is relative reference. So in that, whenever we are copying and moving any formula from one cell to another cell, then the references of that formula gets automatically changed. But in case of absolute cell reference, the references of that formula will not change whenever we are copying or moving the cell from formula from one cell to another cell. Okay, so to use the absolute reference, we need to add dollar sign before the column and row number. Okay, so that is the rule. Whenever we want to use absolute reference, so we have to add dollar sign before the column name and row number. Okay, we can see the example here. Here we can see dollar a dollar one. Okay, so before the column name dollar is added, and before the row number again dollar is added. Okay, so whenever we are adding dollar before the column name or row number. Okay, so that means that is the absolute reference, and it will not change whenever we are copying that formula from one cell to another cell. Okay, so now let understand the absolute reference practically. Okay, so this is the MS Excel screen and I have entered some data here. Okay, so now I want to calculate the incentive amount. Okay, so for that I have to use one formula. Okay, so in that formula I have to multiply each unit with the incentive percentage, that is 10%. Okay, so for that I am just entering one formula here, that is equal to B2, then asterisk for multiplication, and E11 that containing the value of incentive percentage, that is 10%. Okay, so now just observe here, just look here, this is the formula. Okay, and here we can see B2 and E11 both are the relative reference, because we are not using any dollar sign here. Okay, so this is the relative reference. Okay, but if I used or I placed here dollar sign, so then it will become absolute reference. Now in this formula B2 is the relative reference, whereas E11, because of dollar sign, okay, this is the absolute reference. Okay, so whenever I copied this formula into another cells, then because B2 is the relative reference, so that will be changed according to the location, but this $e $11 will remain unchanged. Okay, so that means the value of e $e $11 will remain same for the whole process. Only the value of this B2 will be changed in that formula according to the location. Okay, so now just observe this change, press the enter key. Now 100 is the incentive amount for January month. Okay, now just copy this formula into another cells. Okay, now I'm just copying, just drag the mouse towards downside. Okay, and now just observe, automatically other values, other incentive amount of each month has means calculated and displayed here. Okay, now just observe the change here. Okay, uh, on D2 the formula is equal to B2 into $e $11. Okay, now just again look at D3, automatically that B2, because that B2 is a relative reference, that will automatically changed into the new location, that is B3, but this E11 will remain unchanged. Okay, so that means each and every time we are multiplying this percent into each unit of this unit souls. Okay, so this is the absolute reference, where whenever we are copying any formula from one cell to another cell, then if there is no change in any reference, so that is called absolute reference. Okay, and we can perform the absolute reference process or operation by the help of dollar sign. Whenever we place any dollar sign before the column heading and row number in any cell reference, so then that become becomes absolute reference. Okay, so this is the example of absolute reference. The next reference is mixed cell reference. Okay, so we can see on the screen, it is a combination of relative and absolute reference. So that means both relative and absolute should be present in mixed cell reference. Okay, and one rule of this cell reference is either row or column has to remain fixed. Okay, so we can see the example is here $A1. Okay, so here column is fixed and row is changeable. Whereas in the next one, A, that means column is not fixed, column is changeable, and two, $2, that means row is unchanged, that is fixed. Okay, so now we can understand it by the help of practical. Okay, so here we can see this is the Excel screen again, and here we are going to perform the mixed cell reference. Okay, so suppose that I want to calculate the actual expenses here. Okay, so for that I have to use formula here. Okay, so now just use the formula equal to, okay, then click the expenses value, that is C2. Okay, C2, then minus, and click the charity amount, that is E12. Okay, so now basically this is the relative reference. Okay, so now just I am making it mixed reference by making some changes here. Okay, what are those changes? Place dollar sign before the C, and then again place the dollar sign before the row number, that is 12. Okay, so now we can observe here this is the mixed cell reference, because here C, that is column heading, is remain fixed, whereas row number, that is 2, that will be changeable whenever we copied this formula into another cells. Okay, again minus E, E is changeable, that is the column heading, that will be changeable. Okay, but 12, that will remain unchanged. Okay, now press the enter key. Observe here, this is 100. Okay, 100 is the value of charity amount. Okay, and 200 is the value of C2. Okay, so now the actual expenses is 100. Now just copy this formula into the next cells. Okay, and then observe the change here. Here we will get the result here. These are the actual expenses which are displaying on the screen. Okay, now just observe by the help of formulas. Okay, the first formula is which is present in E2, dollar C2 minus E dollar 12. Okay, click, just activate the next cell, that is E3, and observe the formula. Okay, here again C is remain unchanged, but 3 will change. Okay, minus E dollar 12. Okay, so here again the value of E dollar 12 is 100, that will remain same for each process. Okay, again click the next one, E4. Here again observe the formula, again see column heading will remain fixed, and again row number has changed. Okay, so this is the mixed cell reference, where both relative and absolute references are available, and either row or column one should be fixed. Okay, so this is the mixed cell reference. One more cell reference is there, that is called circular reference. Okay, and it occurs when a formula in a cell refers to its own value directly or indirectly. That means whenever we are using any formula in any cell, and that formula is containing the address of that cell where it is available, where the formula is available, and that formula is containing the same address, same cell reference of the of that cell. Okay, so that's why circular reference occurs. Okay, so just understand it practically. Okay, so suppose that this is the MS Excel screen, and here I have entered, yeah, I am just going to enter some values like this. Okay, this is 25. Okay, that is the that is contained by the A1 cell. Okay, click the A2 cell, and here I am going to enter the formula. Okay, suppose the formula is like this. equal to A1, okay, plus A2, okay, and then multiplicate asterisk for multiplication and 5. So just understand, just observe one thing here, okay. The formula is contained by the A2 cell, okay. This is the formula equal to A1 plus A2 into 5, and this formula is entered in A2 cell. As well as just observe one thing, okay, A2 is also present in that formula, okay. A2 cell is containing the formula, and if we observe one thing, this A2 is also available in the formula, and A2 is the cell address in which the formula is present, and as well as we are using that A2 in the formula as a reference, okay. So because of it, yeah, because of it, circular reference occurs, okay. And whenever I press the enter key, then we will get the error message here, okay, like this, okay. So this is the error message, okay. And whenever I click the OK, then we will get the result 0 in A2 cell, okay. We can observe that. So here we can see A2 is containing then 0, okay. So this is the circular reference, okay.